You are looking almost live at the 8th wonder of the world, the Houston Astrodome. However, the 9th wonder of the world is here in the Dome parking lot, where 815 tons of sand has transformed car space into the biggest sandbox in Texas. Hello again, everybody, and welcome. I'm Chris Marlowe. Well, for the last month, we've been traveling up and down the coast of sunny Southern California. We do not have that luxury anymore. Welcome to cold, windy, rainy Houston, Texas, the first of 3 stops here in the Lone Star State. Next week, we'll be in Arlington, then on to the Alamo in San Antonio. Happy to have working with me my weatherman, former gold medalist Paul Sunderland. And Paul, the weather has been unpredictably bad.
Well, and now we know why they built the Astrodome right here in Houston. Southern Texas weather in the spring, indeed unpredictable. We have had rain, we have had thunderstorms, and we have had fans stampeding for cover. This is action earlier today when we had a big thunderstorm here locally. The AVP staff has done a wonderful job of getting the courts ready for play. The moisture won't be a big problem. The players can deal with that, but the wind, and if there's thunder and lightning, I'm out of here.
Unpredictable weather, unpredictable tournament. Wes Welch and Mark Eller, the 47th and 48th rated players on the tour, are in the show. They have played unbelievably well.
Well, if you're a real volleyball enthusiast, you know Wes Welch and Mark Eller. Both of them been around the game for quite a while, but this is by far their best performance. They just blew through this tournament out of the 19th seed and made it to the finals of the winner's bracket, where they did lose to Smith and Stoklos, but they were fantastic, and we'll see them later on.
And to update you on the rest of the tournament, there have been some other surprises, some expectations as well. Hovland and Steffes did not play well.
Well, they were awful in their worst finish of the summer, and another elite team also down there in 7th place, Mike Dodd and Ricky Ludes. And the biggest surprise award of the week is for Brent Frohoff and Scott Akatubby, who were 3rd 3 weeks in a row. They dropped to 17th. You have Hanley and Whitmarsh in 4th. Roger Clark and Eric Wirtz, who played extremely well in 5th. And John Edo and Rudy Dvorak, who also played very well in 5th. So some good news, some surprises, and some bad news.
All right, I know what you're thinking. What about the money, the Miller Lite Grand Prix bonus pool? Let's update you on the point standings as we stand right now. St. John Smith, Randy Stoklos are ahead, 65.5 points, and Steffes and Hovland not going to pick up money points for their performance today.
Well, they made up no ground here in Houston. Then you have Pat Powers and Adam Johnson. You can see how the field is spreading out. Brent Frohoff and Mike Dodd in 7th and 8th position, but St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos, about a 1/3 of the way through the season, are just blowing away. As we look at the second 8, you've got Scott Akatubby, Roger Clark, Eric Wirtz, Brian Lewis, Walmer Jantz, Mike Whitmarsh, who missed a tournament, and then John Hanley. Those are the top 16. And I was looking in the AVP media guide, and they are paying out some big bucks on that bonus pool.
Okay, raindrops keep falling on our head, but Paul and I are tough. We didn't play on the Olympic team for nothing. We're going here in Houston. Stay with us.
Prime Network presents 1991 Miller Lite Pro Beach Volleyball. Brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's Miller Lite, less filling really tastes great. By Killer Loop Sunglasses by Bosch & Lomb. By LA Gear Catapult, the anti-fatigue rebound mechanism that you can actually feel from LA Gear. By Kawasaki. If it isn't Kawasaki, it isn't jet ski. And by Body Glove, everything your body wants to be.
All right, ready for semifinal action. Mark Eller and Wes Welch. Adam Johnson, Pat Powers coming up. Adam Johnson, Pat Powers, you've seen them against Mark Eller and Wes Welch playing together for only the 3rd time, and we're underway. And Mark Eller puts the ball down right away, and let's identify the combatants for you. That is Mark Eller right there. He's wearing the exotic hat, exotic sportswear hat, and he passes the ball to Wes Welch, who has the longest hair on the tour. Wes Welch, 6'5", 195, out of San Clemente, California. Welch is known for having a great jump serve, and he's a big fellow who can block. Eller booms it, and Eller and Welch get a point. Good look at Wes Welch.
Getting off to a good start. Wes is from San Clemente, California. There you see the breakdown here in Houston. $13,650 split for the first place team, $8,400 and change, and then right on down the line. over $65,000 in prize money here in Houston.
St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos, in case you haven't guessed, are in the winner's bracket, undefeated, and big Wes Welch puts the herd. He's married, been married for 4 years to a woman named Kelly, his wife. She is pursuing her nursing degree at Saddleback College out in California. Welch, kind of a enigmatic player. He's been an indoor player, but hasn't played a tremendous amount on the beach.
Well, he's played a lot. He's just never been in this rarefied air before.
Tournament ball I was talking about.
Right. You talk to Wes, and he spends his life playing volleyball down in San Clemente, surfing in between games, and he did spend a number of years over in Switzerland playing professional volleyball. There you get a look at Pat Powers, 6'5", 195. Getting up there a little bit in age, but still an intimidating blocker on the beach.
Powers is 33. His partner, Adam Johnson, is 26. Johnson and Powers have been in the losers bracket most of today. Wes Welch, on the other hand, he and his partner, Mark Eller, got to the finals of the winners bracket, where they were crunched by Smith and Stoklos 15-7.
But they played very well, on their way there. 5 career wins. We mentioned Mark Eller has been out of the winner's circle, or away from the rarefied air, as I called it, with regard to Wes Welch of Pro Beach Volleyball for a while, but knows the game very well.
Good dig by Welch. And another dig back by Powers. Powers, nobody up. And Welch chicken wings it back over. Pat Powers cuts inside. So Pat Powers, who has won 1 tournament this year.
He and Adam won in Santa Barbara and did it with excellent ball control. A pretty windy day in Santa Barbara, as it is here today in Houston. You just wonder if they have enough left after spending some hard games and time in the losers bracket earlier today.
His only career U.S. win, you saw right there, A.J. Adam Johnson up in Santa Barbara. A tournament we had here on Prime Network. Johnson, an excellent jump server. And here comes Eller. And Eller hits the ball out of bounds. And the first point registered to Johnson and Powers. So Mark Eller, he's 31 years old.
Big hitter, always known as someone who could just rip the ball. Here he rips successfully inside the block of Pat Powers, but wide. And Adam Johnson always in good defensive position behind the big block of Pat.
1 serving 2. Eller on the attack. And he booms one straight down.
Not bashful. He's going to attack the block of Pat Powers. And Eller and Welch really not under any pressure at all. Surprised, very happy to be in this position, and just want to let it all hang out and get back in the finals.
Wes Welch, in his spare time, the kid with the blonde hair, he works for Wally Construction Company in Laguna Beach, but he says his boss has very flexible hours. He's only worked 1 week during the summer so far. And Welch, a big boomer. Watch him spike. Isn't he? Wes Welch. He started the year with Jim Menges, the 40-year-old all-star, making a comeback, played 5 tournaments with Jim, and then Menges got sick, and now he's steamed with Eller.
Look at the athletic ability of Wes Welch. Just shows you the line shot. Pat Powers drifts wide, and Wes, at 6'5", able to chop the ball hard inside the block.
3-1, Welch and Eller. And a 20-second timeout taken by Powers and Adam Johnson. So we are in drizzly, rainy Houston, Texas. Adam Johnson and Pat Powers trying to move into the finals against St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos. You're wondering about Mark Eller and Wes Welch. Eller 5 wins, Welch none. You see the money this year, as I said, Welch the 47th player, Eller the 48th player, and their best finish 9th place. They've only played twice, a 13th and a 9th, but they're guaranteed at least a 3rd today.
You see both Welch and Eller in the $3,000 range in terms of prize money, 47th and 48th. And what are St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos? They're at $70,000, so a little disparity there, but they're moving up after this week.
Wind is really blowing as Adam Johnson zips it by. We feel that the good side of the court is the left side nearest the dome. The side that Powers and Johnson are on is the bad side.
Adam Johnson, one of the smaller players on the tour, but has a rocket right arm. Great speed in his arm swing.
Powers, the conventional wisdom is to serve Eller, and Eller thunders one down. Interestingly, Eller won his first tournament back in 1979 with Jeff Southcott. That was at Lake Tahoe.
Now, would you like to play defense against Mark Eller? Adam Johnson trying to get into good position, but there you see Pat Powers lined up, taking away the line, leaving the slot cross court.
Powers with a bad pass. And this could be a point for Welch and Eller. Here comes Eller. Dink. You're allowed to touch it twice. Oh, great play by Johnson, but it's got to go over, and Powers may get a red card for that if it goes out of play. It is a red card, and that will be a point.
That's a correct call. I mean, that's just the rules of the game.
If you sock the ball out of play and it goes into the stands, it's a red card according to the AVP rulebook. So now it should be, well, what do you do? I guess it's a 5-1 when we come back.
Side change, and we'll come back at 5-1, and it should be. It's a lay a game.
It is definitely 4-1, and there's definitely a timeout. It will be 5-1 when we come back. So here at the Miller Lite, Houston Open, 4-1 it says, but it will be 5-1, I can guarantee you. We're back on the men's professional beach volleyball tour. I'm Chris Marlowe along with Paul Sunderland, the Miller Lite Texas Special Olympics Open here in Houston, Texas. First of three, Wes Welch and his partner Mark Eller have gotten off to a very good start over Pat Powers and Adam Johnson. Smith and Stokos, Hovland and Steffes. Frohoff and Akatabi went out in 17th, did not play well. Johnson, Powers still in. Dodd and Ludies, Walmer, Jantz, Hanley, Whitmarsh got fourth and down the line. So now Wes Welch,
the 19th seed.
And he's having or making a lot of pressure on Pat Powers with his jump serve. As we said, Pat Powers did get a red card. A point was awarded, and now the score is 5-1.
And it came at the side change. You normally change multiples of 5. It would have been 4-1 side change, but with a red card, now we're at 5-1.
So Adam Johnson set to put the ball in play. Adam, who lives now in Capistrano Beach, California. He's married. Only been on the tour for about a year and a half, and he has made great strides. Eller coming in. Off the net. Chance for a point. And Johnson loops out of bounds.
That's Adam Johnson's game, though. Just rocket and cover the court behind Pat Powers' scramble. And Adam Johnson has become an excellent finisher. Pat Powers, one of the most intimidating blockers on the beach, and Adam Johnson, one of the quickest chasers, but just not able to keep this ball in play. The wind probably having a lot of effect on this ball.
Mark Eller to serve. And they're working Powers. And Powers pops it into the deep corner. So Pat Powers, who won a gold medal in 1984, was considered the world's best hitter in 1986. That's not Pat Powers. That's Mark Eller, of course. There is Pat Powers. And Powers will serve. Welch hits one out of bounds. That is a point to Powers and Johnson.
Crowd very quiet right now. It's getting rather ominous looking in terms of the weather. And Welch and Eller have to eliminate errors.
Powers to serve. He's got a very good float serve. Doesn't jump serve much. And Eller will attack. He hits the low set very well, but Johnson runs it down. Chance for a point. Got it!
Excellent finish by Adam Johnson after the great chase. Welch and Eller have got to try to side out here. Look at the chase by Adam Johnson, covering the entire backcourt by himself, and then Pat Powers just trying to get him in position to do something with it. The nice little roll shot.
Push. 5-3 is our score. And Eller thunders one through. Mark Eller is a very good-looking guy, and the reason I say that, he's got a Levi commercial running right now. He just got signed up in a Pepsi commercial that he's doing with Randy Stoklos. And you can see foreboding weather, rain coming down and clouds in the distance, and we're hoping no tornadoes will be coming.
Or will be going in a hurry.
So there's Mark Eller. He is a part-time commercial actor. He spends a lot of time in Mexico. Excellent all-around volleyball player. Took 3.5 years off.
A lot of stress in his life, I can tell.
Took 3.5 years off to go to Hawaii.
Another very stressful location.
So Welch and Eller seem perfect for each other. Both laid back, big, strong guys. Powers right there. He's a little more intense, as is his partner Adam Johnson. And they're trying to figure out who should serve. And you would have to believe with 2 guys on the team that you would be able to figure it out yourself. But sometimes you do get
just
confused.
Follow the same guy on the opposing team.
So Mark Eller will put the ball in play. He actually won a tournament with St. John Smith back in 1982. That was 82 Hermosa. And he pops the jumper. 5-3 is the score.
Perfect set.
And Power is going over the top. Surprised that Eller and Welch are serving Powers?
Yeah, a little bit. I think what they're trying to do is just jump serve as hard as they can into the wind. And I mentioned this being a perfect set. Look at the altitude. Pat Powers needs a little bit higher set. He can use his reach and jump and go right over the top of virtually any block out here on the tour.
Johnson, who won $33,000 last year, but he's in for a big year this year. Popped up. 5-3 is our score. Eller. Powers with the pokey. And the peeper with a cut. He got it.
As long as you give Pat Powers time, and Adam Johnson knows it, he has a chance to convert and score. Just give the big fella time.
On the good side, most of the points are coming. Welch and Eller having trouble on the bad side.
Pat Powers showing you that he can scramble and play a little defense, and he's always had a good cut shot.
4 straight points for Johnson and Powers. Oh, it got Eller going out of bounds. Consider it an ace. So 5. Make that 4 straight points for Johnson and Powers, and we're tied at 5 as we take the turn. Don't go away. Back in Houston. Little roller coaster in the background, and so far it's been a roller coaster ride for these 2 teams. Welch and Eller got out 5-1. Johnson and Powers caught up 5-5. And such a big difference in the side, Paul. The wind gusting heavily now.
Well, of the 10 points that are now on the board, I can only remember 1 or 2 that were scored from the bad side. 2 total from the bad side, as opposed to 8 the good side, which Eller and Welch are now serving from.
Now, Wes Welch, who said the highlight of his career was getting to play with Jim Menges. Although they did not play that well, they got a 9th. But he said Menges taught me a lot in terms of ball control and how to play volleyball. Jim Menges, if you're wondering, has had bronchitis. Only 24 teams taken in this tournament, so he did not get a partner, did not play this week. Hope he gets better soon. I'd like to see him back out there.
Well, at the age of 40, he worked awfully hard to get in the kind of shape, and he was in great shape when he tried to make his comeback and played very well. He and Wes, they finished 9th, which is no small accomplishment.
One thing Welch does very, very well for a big man. Welch puts the ball up and sets very nicely. Who's not here this week because of injuries? Well, a whole pile of guys.
And some very good players to boot. Dan Vrabolovich and John Stevenson both out with knee problems. Brian Lewis, who'd been playing so well, out with a shoulder. And we already mentioned Jim Menges, who's on the sick list.
5-5 is our score. Johnson. Bad set. And Welch with a dig. Chance for a point. Big Wes. See ya! And Welch made a terrific dig and a good point.
There you see the difference inside. Pat Powers with a very poor set to Adam Johnson. Welch with a nice 2-handed dig overhand that's legal on the beach, and then the nice bump set from his partner. This is after the dig, and Wes knows what to do when there's no block. Life's a lot easier when you don't have to face Pat Powers.
You see the points on the good side, points on the bad side. Problems. Johnson, with nobody up, drills it home.
Sweet set. That's the kind of play I think you need to block on. Once you determine that the ball is set near the net, it's almost coming directly over Adam Johnson's head, and he's just going to take a swing. It's an opportunity for a blocker to get in good position in front of him.
Adam Johnson, a communications major, if I can get that out, communications major at USC. He was ranked 14th on the AVP tour last year. Welch. And Welch is stuffed by Powers.
There's the difference of hitting against an open net and hitting against one of the best blockers in the world, indoors or out, Pat Powers. This is a clinic right here. Pat up and over so quick with his hands.
Adam Johnson to put the ball in play. And into the net. By the way, if you're wondering what those little things are on Adam Johnson's feet and Mark Eller's feet, those are foot digs. Those are the latest in footwear for the beach. And they are supposed to protect your feet and give you a little spring. There they are, foot digs. Nike makes them. I believe they're the only company that's putting those particular items out. And some of the players starting to wear them. Never thought you'd see it. Johnson cuts it inside. So Adam Johnson and Pat Powers getting their side-out rhythm back together.
And particularly well from the bad side. Pat Powers made a couple of nice plays on offsets. The wind gusting and changing directions a little bit, making it difficult for all these players.
Rain and wind most of today. It rained very, very hard last night. Thunder and lightning. As the players trying to get this one in. Weather is always unpredictable here when we swing through Texas. Welch blocked, out of bounds. So Wes Welch gets the kill. There's Big Wes, as I said, longest hair on the tour. Kind of a throwback. He's a surfer, kind of a fun guy, very concerned with the environment. Matter of fact, he's a member of the Surf Rider Foundation, which takes care of the beaches, trying to get people environmentally concerned out in California. Very proud of that. He likes the beach, obviously, as we all do. Powers with the cut shot, and Powers making a living on that shot now.
Well, a lot of players ought to watch Pat Powers when he hits the cut shot. A lot of players make the mistake of dropping their arm, but he hits it from such a high contact point. The angle across the net and down the court makes it very, very difficult to play defense against.
Johnson to serve. 6-6 is our score.
Serving Wes Welch almost exclusively now after Mark Eller got off to such a good start offensively.
The thump and the roll of the ball. Wes Welch puts the ball away. So Welch racking up the kills. That's his fourth. Eller's been getting most of the serves. He has 7.
That was early, though. Powers and Johnson have changed their service strategy of late.
Ooh, he just missed the ace. Going for the back line.
And Welch was living by that ace earlier in the tournament. Some of their biggest wins over the likes of Roger Clark and Eric Wirtz in the semifinals of the winners. And they were the team that started the downhill slide for Scott Akatubby and Brent Frohoff. Wes Welch was jump serving extremely well.
Powers with a pathetic serve into the net. So the Peepers gives the ball up, and Eller will have it. Mark Eller, who played with Andrew Smith in a couple of tournaments early. A kid named Tony Zapata, the youngest player on the tour at 17 for one tournament, and Owen McKibben. But this might be a team to be reckoned with a little later.
Yeah, I think even when Mingus gets healthy, he's going to have a hard time getting Wes Welch back.
Nice dig. Blocked. Powers chickens it over.
Adam's talking to him right now. What a chancy play by Pat Powers.
We've seen Powers do that before. He's very good at it.
Well, speaking of enigmatic, Pat Powers is bright, articulate, and sometimes crafty.
And unusual. And a heavy sleeper. A renowned sleeper. 23 out of 24 hours a day. Johnson serving. We're tied at 6. Semifinal action. Good semifinal. Interesting stuff going on.
Tight. That's trouble.
Big trouble. Welch can't get by Powers, and that's not the set that Welch needs. He needs it higher and off.
Well, he needs the ball about 2 feet off the net. Wes Welch looked up to see that big black cloud right there? Well, when Pat Powers reached over the top of this, it was like turning off the lights. Watch Pat just waiting to engulf this ball way over the net. Wes has nowhere to go.
Peeper's wearing a knee band on his left elbow.
Same set.
And same result. Powers with the stuff.
Pat Powers now with his 3rd stuff block, and that's the game for Pat Powers and Adam Johnson. Good side-out rhythm on your own side, and then make a setting mistake, and Pat Powers will make you pay for it. Not once, but twice. Nobody gets over the net except for maybe Randy Stoklos as far as Pat Powers.
A first 20-second timeout going to Wes Welch and Mark Eller. Breaking the action. We're coming back to the Dome after this. Stay with us. 6. We now pick up the action with Johnson and Powers ahead 13-7. Reminisce just a moment. Miller High Life became the sponsor for Pro Beach Volleyball. That was a big, big step. World Championship prize money increasing to 20 grand. Mike Dodd, his first beach win. Kent Steffes was a little wimp. 13 years old, a little snotty-nosed wimp in the Pacific Palisades. I'm just kidding. I like Kent Steffes. He was a good young kid, a good youngster. Grew up in the Pacific Palisades area. He and Hovland had some trouble today, Paul. Did you see him play? What happened to him?
No, I saw a couple of their matches this morning. They just couldn't score points. And Rudy Dvorak and John Edo beat them in a long match for 7th place. They just could not score. They were siding out pretty well and just couldn't get it done defensively or blocking.
Score remains frozen at 7, serving 13.
Powers and Johnson want to get this one over as quickly as they can so they can get a little rest for Smith-Stoklos.
Well, one thing about the poor weather conditions is that it's not hot.
And it is not game point quite yet. That ball was hit out of bounds, but there was a net call, so it's still 13-7. They jump the gun just a bit. Eller chasing, can't get there. So Mark Eller going up against Pat Powers. Winner of this particular match or game gets an automatic 2nd place, $65,000 tournament, as AJ sets to put the ball in play. Good serve, but it was out. Boy, it was right in the right spot, an inch too long.
Deep middle. Welch and Eller just having no choice but to stare at that ball. Really, neither of them had a chance on it. It was just long.
Let's take Wes Welch from behind, and, well, we'll show him from the front then. And he will pop up his jump serve. See, he gets good high spin on it.
Right there.
Off his head.
Adam Johnson, excuse me, Chris, again, so quick. And Wes Welch getting ripped through the field goal, but AJ with that quick swing able to get on this pretty low set. Where does this one go? Right through the field goal.
And Welch has a lot of those field goals happen, Paul. How could he correct that?
I think he's just got to get his hands in front of him quicker, and you don't want to bring your hands up from the side. You want to shoot them together over the net together. Watch Pat Powers when he blocks in isolation. His hands both together go over.
Pieper with a mini sky ball. A little spin on that baby. Welch down the line. Johnson has it. Could be 14. Not yet. Eller pops it back. Dink into the net. Not a great choice by Welch to block, but it wasn't a great shot either by Johnson.
Terrible shot into the middle of the net. Nice dig by Mark Eller.
Chris Marlowe, Paul Sunderland with you on Prime Network as our coverage of men's pro beach continues. Don't forget, next week we'll be in Arlington, Texas, as we continue our tour through the state of Texas and then on to San Antonio. I want to go see the Alamo, Paul. I'm going in early. Never been there.
San Antonio's a great town.
All right, good. I'm glad so. Pieper, high dink over Eller. What's so great about it?
Well, they've got a river that runs right through the city. Beautiful. Lots of nice restaurants and parks. And I've been there a couple of times. The Alamo's very nice.
Score remains frozen at
13-7. Score remains.
Rain coming down pretty hard just now, Chris.
Johnson. Dig, it's got to go over. It had to come over that time, so a good shot by Powers. He just missed it. When you touch the ball on the block, Paul, do you want to call out one or not?
Well, I think it depends. You've got to tell your partner. It just depends on the situation where you've dug the ball. And Pat Powers taking a little chance that time. The ball hit right to Adam and really wanted to get the ball quickly onto Welch and Eller.
Yes, this is the beach, but it's raining. Or semi-beach. Umbrellas are out, but people are staying. The Houston fans are good. And that cut shot, for some reason, Eller is taking line every time behind Welch. And Powers, realizing that, goes to the cut shot again and again and again.
I think you want to do just the reverse. I think you want to make Pat go away from his favorite shot, the cut shot. He hits it from such a high point. That's his easiest play for side out.
Trying to work on Wes Welch, 13-7. Welch blocked again by Powers.
Just again, Pat Powers putting on a clinic. The ball set too close to the net. Wes Welch let this ball drop a little bit and just hit it right into Pat.
So now it is game point for Powers and Johnson. They'll try Welch again.
That's the good set. 2-3 feet off the net, then you don't have to deal with Powers. You have some room to angle the ball around him.
So Mark Eller will try to rally his team. Trailing 7-14, Eller will go back and try to pop the jump serve. Good look at Mark. Big, strong, physical kid. Won 5 tournaments over the course of, well, a long time. 12 years he's been a pro. Try Powers.
There's the cut again. I don't know what Eller is looking at or thinking about right now, but he's just continually lined up behind Wes Welch, and as soon as Pat contacts the ball, he's breaking the wrong direction.
I think what they're doing, Welch is trying to block angle and force Powers' line, but he can't block the cut.
Well, he can't reach it.
Second game point for Johnson and Powers. Oh, and right through the hands of Welch. The ball could have been wet from the rain, and that will do it. So Johnson and Powers move on, but the crowd gives a great round of applause for Mark Eller and Wes Welch, the story of this tournament so far. Going to continue with our coverage of Men's Pro Beach here on Prime after this.